rush, adrenaline, victory in our skin, tighten the grip, hold the line, defeats the word we leave behind. Danger right with every turn, in every crash, a lesson learned. The roar of engine, scream of tires, feeds the need, ignites the fire. You thought you had the skills to win, but the checkered flag is where it begins. Born to race, born to fight, push the limit, own the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound, burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck, but in the end, it sucks to suck. On the edge of speed, we drive the line, leave them broken at the finish sign. Glory waits for those who dare. In the heat of battle, we're prepared. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck, but in the end, it sucks to suck. On the end, it sucks. Clears and engines die. The victors stand, the rest just cry. The truth is hard, the road is rough. If you can't keep up, well, it sucks to suck. Engines roar, the lights go green. Metal beats on gasoline. Pedal down, no turning back. Feel the thunder on the track. Chrome and steel, the battle calls. Through the smoke, we stand tall. Rivals crushed, we leave in dust. Speed is our only trust. You think you're fast, you think you're tough, but on this track it sucks to suck. Born to race, born to fight, push the limit, own the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound, burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck, but in the end, it sucks to suck. Feel the rush, adrenaline, victory in our skin, tighten the grip, hold the line, defeats the word we leave behind. Danger right with every turn, in every crash, a lesson learned. The roar of engines, scream of tires, feeds the need, ignites the fire. You thought you had the skills to win, but the checkered flag is where it begins. Born to race, born to fight, push the limit, own the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound, burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck, but in the end, it sucks to suck. On the edge of speed, we drive the line, leave them broken at the finish sign. Glory waits for those who dare. In the heat of battle, we're prepared. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck, but in the end, it sucks to suck. On the end, it sucks to fight. Push the limit all the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound. Burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. Feel the rush, adrenaline. Victory in our skin. Tighten the grip, hold the line. Defeat's the word we leave behind. Danger right with every turn. In every crash, a lesson learned. The roar of engines, scream of tires. Feeds the need, ignites the fire. You thought you had the skills to win, but the checkered flag is where it begins. Born to race, born to fight. Push the limit all the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound. Burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. On the edge of speed, we drive the line. Leave them broken at the finish sign. Glory waits for those who dare. In the heat of battle, we're prepared. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. On the end, it sucks. Clears and engines die. The victors stand, the rest just cry. The truth is hard, the road is rough. If you can't keep up, well, it sucks to suck. Engines roar, the lights go green. Metal beasts on gasoline. Pedal down, no turning back. Feel the thunder on the track. Chrome and steel, the battle calls. Through the smoke, we stand tall. Rivals crushed, we leave in dust. Speed is our only trust. You think you're fast, you think you're tough. But on this track, it sucks to.
Good evening and welcome here to the Core GT series. This is season 16, week number 6, coming at you from virtual Daytona International Speedway. Should be a good race here tonight. Looks like 81 degrees out there, track temp 86. But yeah, so most of the track says altitude of 37 feet. I think the bottom of Lake Lloyd might actually be below sea level. But Lake Lloyd being the big area that they use to excavate all the dirt for the turns. But we are here tonight with the GT3 cars, and these guys have got about 5 minutes, a little less of qualifying left so far. Let's see, currently you got Ricky Renner with the pole time of 1:45.11. See him in the pits there. So let's get another one here. Ryan, looking like McLaren's are doing pretty nice here tonight. I know in the officials, the Lambo has been a little OP, but you know, the guys only got one change of car this season during the silly season. This is the last week to do it, I believe. So looking in there, we got Dan Griffin and Nicholas Menard currently sitting in 4th and 5th. So I was looking at something, I think. Is Jake? Yeah. Jake Browning here should be listed as platinum. And I could have sworn that I put him in there. Let's see. Yeah, well, he was listed as a rookie, but he is officially in platinum now. Do a quick reload of the overlay to fix that. Now, Connor Wagner and Ryan Merriam that you see up here at the top are not yet. They have not done all 5 races. I believe Connor should get his this next race after this one, but I expect to see him up in platinum as well. Looking through here, what am I looking for? Show you the overall qualifying now. Ooh. The eyeball there. So we can find one of these guys that's still on track. Well, Schwartz is parked. Drake Leach is parked. And hey, look, it's a Wild V running that Coos Porsche. So good to see you be out here again. Avi, keep it on the track. Got about 2 more minutes before we go and get this one fully wrapped up. So, had a little issue with my Discord. I have been locked out for the foreseeable future and did not have a chance to get into all the Discords. So, to our sponsors, I do apologize, but I do not have the materials to do the sponsor reads. I'm going to do my best here tonight. So, watching Avi here being one of the few out on track. And we also have Nick Terrell going to try to probably set a last minute lap there. And lap time's in the minute 50 range. I don't think he's going to get one in, but B should be able to just get his lap in. So while B does that, we want to give a shout out to the sponsor here of Chase Decals. They do a lot of graphic design work, fleets, things like that. So if you do need that, I'm sorry, Josh, I know you just sent me the proper sponsor read last week, but yeah, getting up this afternoon was not what I wanted to have. Finally, I've been locked out of Discord. But if you do need some decal or graphic work, please get in touch with Josh, and they can get you taken care of over at chasedecals.com. I'm still showing. I guess Drake's just parked it right there. Philip Adams not getting. Does not appear like he's going to get a lap in either. And oh, it yanked them off the track. So look at 26 cars setting a qualifying time. As you can see, the time has shifted here a little bit. Let's do this. If I do this, nope. That is not what we want to do here.
Radio check.
Oh. And I am going to do
It's good,
that.
Captain.
We're going to have to turn off the voice chat. Do not want to get in trouble if they see us go radioactive here. So, there is that. All right. Huh. Well, nope. I had a new grid thing. I was going to try it, and unfortunately, you can't test these things in SDK unless you have a grid. So, and speaking of grid, it is not doing any of it. Well, it may just have to do this right here. Delete that. Let's do reload that overlay. Go empty. Come on back from the grid. And why do I not have the grid? Well, we can do one other thing. I can show qualify. Well, this was working earlier, and I'm not quite sure why exactly it's broken. Actually, it appears a good bit of things are currently broken with this. The timing tower? Well, something is broken. As the pace car is coming out, I'm gonna swap over. There we go. I wonder if it doesn't work when it's on the pace car. But they are firing off down into turn 1. Connor and Ricky going side by side here. Looking like everybody's making it through just fine. Looks like Connor's going to come out ahead here. Going to run through some of our... through the International Horseshoe here. You can see someone sitting sideways, sitting on the brakes like they should. They're going to have to wait. I know it's painful. So we go through the kink here. You see probably a few cars on cold tires want to try to slide through there. This is the Western Horseshoe. And this will be the infield exit there. As they dive into NASCAR turn 1 here, as you see them getting up on the banking for the first time. See one of the simraces.com guys taking the slightly shorter line there. And coming out of NASCAR 2 as they head to the entrance to the bus stop here. Looking like we have 34 cars out here tonight. And you can see how much of the curve these guys are taking. And if you go out just a little bit wider, you will see exactly how bad it hurts to get on those. But as they go into NASCAR 3 here, and as Connor and Ricky come out of the NASCAR 4, but not the Sunset Cam. There we go. And that's enough of the pre-position cameras. Do not have a TV mixed here tonight. We do have a little drone that hangs out in the trioval area. And that drone operator appears to be slightly drunk, so I'm not going to stay with that view. Checking in with Chad here. Sid Dressing says, go Forrest. Yeah, Forrest had a very good race last time, a 0X at a wet Fuji. So definitely going to see how he does here tonight. But up front, all these guys separated by 2 or 3 tenths of a second. Not a ton of space, but you know, that draft will help pull them tighter and tighter together. But you get this first pack of 5, and then we will drop back. You can see what a second, a little over a second and a half to Jake Browning looks like from Nicholas there. And Nicholas kind of running in his own race. Got Michael and Sergi back here behind him. These two are going to be going 2 wide here down into the bus stop. Sergi going to take that position there. Who else here? Who else we got? It's Jack Peterson coming down through the inside out of that. Jack, your biggest gainer so far, up 15 positions already, and we are on lap 2. So Jack's got the hammer down on that Mustang. Another one that normally can make it through the pack pretty well is Alan Gullison. He'll be in the Liquid Death Mustang there. He is up 10 positions. It's one to keep an eye on, but looks like Ricky Renner passed our leader there. Let's see how that looks. He's going to be down into turn 1. Gets on the binders a little bit harder. A little bit of a squeeze. And I think that's a textbook Daytona pass if you could ever call one right there. All right. Let's see who else is nice and close here. Like Peterson is going to look around the outside of Kerry here. Thinks better of it. Probably going to set him up. It's one of those, you know, you're having to make the decision. Do I pass him here getting onto the oval and then give him my draft all the way down and have to hold him off possibly into the bus stop? Or do you lose a 10th or 2 behind him there and try to make it up on the straightaway and see if you can get an overspeed and help get close to the guys in front of you? Kerry looking like he's thinking about a move. Jack holding him off. Closes the door and says, not today. Oh, there you go. That's what we were looking for. You take too much curb and you go airborne like that. It is not pleasant if you have a direct drive wheel. Ryan Merriam having the fastest lap here so far tonight with, I'll take that back. Looks like that goes to Ricky Renner with a 145.48. Schwartz is racing on injury, insane speed for no force feedback. Well, Nathan, is it no force feedback or just a little force feedback? Because none is way harder than just turned way down. You know, that being said, the BMW I don't think has a ton of feel out of it anyway. But these two, Michael and Michael here. BMW probably not the greatest car here at Daytona. Looking through. Got Nick Terrell making his way up and has Charles Adams behind him. Another one we saw. Phillip Adams is in gold and is way down here, but we saw he did not get a qualifying lap in. Down in 32nd position, so one to keep an eye on as this race progresses. Abivas Urasam up 5 spots ahead of Alex Jaspers there. It's a good start for Abi. Checking back here up front, looks like Ricky and Connor trying to check out from the rest of the field a little bit. You see the gap they built up to Ryan there. Maybe just one hand. So yeah, there. Yeah, so that shows you that was a 0.8 of a second gap, and by the time you make it down through turn 1, down to half a second between Connor and Ryan. So yeah, these guys having open sets, they can run their wing where they want. So definitely something to keep an eye on. See if anybody, maybe running a little more wing, might be a little faster in the infield, a little slower on the out thing. Check in here, look like Tyler Reed thinking about a move there for a second. But Tyler has Michael Schwartz in front of him, Michael McCone behind him, and Jack Peterson behind him. Just checking in on Peterson's last lap, a 145.96. Looking, your leaders are in the 144 range-ish, it appears. 145.13 for Ricky last lap, so Peterson gonna have to work pretty hard if he wants to manage to make it all the way back up there towards the front. Saw the battle earlier between Sergi and, I'm trying to think who it was. I believe it wasn't Jake. It was, yeah, Jake will be happy we got your name correct this time. It was one extra W in SDK for some odd reason. And Forrest Minter now on the back of Kerry, a little Porsche on Porsche action. We are about 9 minutes into this hour-long race here tonight. Being Daytona, it's only so much fuel saving you can do, having to keep the loud pedal down on the oval section. Oh, that was Michael getting a little sideways coming out of the International Horseshoe there. Showing a crash here for Hayden. Let's go and see what happened to Hayden here. Gets on the binders into turn one. Oh, a little bit of contact with the 9. It looks like that's... I think that was Josh Betts there. And checking in with... You just got saw him in the background there. That's a Beavis who lost 10 spots from his starting spot, running 6th in silver. Now we're going to throw these guys into their division group so you can kind of see who's leading what. Silver's got plenty of drivers in here tonight. And you can kind of see Platinum is even fleshing out a little too. Two of these guys, Ryan and Connor, that you see at the top of Rookie there, they will likely fall in Platinum. Sergi, my guess, says he's going to be somewhere between Platinum and Gold. It's a 50-50. Just depends on exactly how his race results math out. You'd have to ask Tilford to be a little better. Well, let's see here. Looks like Randy Gross catching the back of Forrest Minter here. Yeah, that Mustang is known for having a little more horsepower than some of the others. Porsche, always really good on the brakes. It's always a decent car at Daytona. You know, hasn't been the meta for a little while now, but we'll see how, you know, I'm seeing a few Porsches knocking on the door of a top 10 here tonight. A little surprised to see the McLarens all the way up front. And two of the ones that have been leading every race here so far, Dan Griffith and Nicholas Menard, in Platinum now, and still has Ricky Renner out in the lead. These two, yeah, gonna have to wonder, yeah, who's playing fuel games, who's, is somebody gonna manage to one-stop it tonight? I doubt it, I doubt it, I doubt it, but it's always a possibility. That being said, we'll be looking at Philip Adams up in 24th now, trying to make it 23rd. See if he can make a move here on a Beavis of Awesome down into the bus stop. Side by side on the binders, you can see in that game of chicken looks like Avi. Oh, oh, that's not how you want to. Oh. That is about the worst spot in the track you can possibly wind up, being sideways or stopped. So that's a painful one, Philip, there. Make sure we are live here. Check in with Warren Sanger here, running 3rd in bronze. Yeah, we have 34 cars out here on track tonight, so you know, I'm going to go pull the track map up here so you can kind of see. Yeah, everybody's kind of, you can see the snake starting to stretch out a little bit. As you got Ricky getting on the oval there, you got the rest of the guys coming in off the oval section. I'd be curious one day to see a time breakdown in the amount of time you spend between, going into turn one and getting back out on the oval there. Is that time about the same as what you spend just hauling rear end for the vast majority of this track? This being a 3.56 mile road course, a little longer than most, but still a sub 2-minute lap time, and that's because these guys are moving here on the banking. We'll stay with Warren here and see what his VMAX is coming into the bus stop. Saying 164, 65, 167 miles an hour before getting on the binders. And a lot of time to be made and lost here at the bus stop. It's how you get in, makes all the difference. Well, let's see, saying it's not where you hit the brakes, it's how you release them and where you release them. And the bus stop, I find, is one of the truest spots you can talk about that. We have Michael Schwartz here with a mirror full of Peterson. We're going to hop along Peterson here and see what that looks like on the nose. So he sends it down to the inside of the horseshoe, swap over there, and see how, that's kind of how you want that pass to look. Did a little better than a certain Corvette and BMW did a few, 2 years ago at Daytona, that resulted in a gesture out that little window at 100 plus miles an hour. I think they sell t-shirts with that. But got a little bit of a battle here between this little group. That is Warren Sanger and Drake Leach there. Showing another crash for Hayden here. What happens here? Oh, loses the back end. Coming. Oh, and does that. And then it looks like he jumps to the pits, and maybe he still had some damage from that previous incident. You can go back live here. Currently looking like everybody but Aaron Reed and Hayden are currently on the lead lap. Philip Adams still in the lead lap after not having a lot of car left after he had the incident in the bus stop there. So, have to see if that comes out to anything for him. Like a battle here between Schwartz and Tyler Reed. Schwartz possibly driving one-handed. But Tyler Reed in a Corvette getting a very nice exit there out of the first turn. Let's see. Checking in with our bronze division leader, Zane Bierman. Just get around, I believe that was Eric. Got that. Let's check back on our leaders up here. You can see Ricky barely stretching a little bit of a lead out over Connor. And then you have Ryan. And then you have Dan. And then you have Nick. And then there's a nice 3-second delay to Jake back here. And this is about the loneliest place you can find yourself at Daytona. You're outside the draft of the guy ahead of you. And he's got 12 seconds to jack back behind him. So, it's one of those, you kind of wish Jack could come help push you, but you don't necessarily want anybody, in your own draft at that point. Checking in here. Looking like Sergi, kind of starting to close the gap to Michael Schwartz, guessing that injury hampering his ability to be at the top of his game here tonight. And here's another one, Alan Gullison up 17 positions, making a move on Forrest Minter there. And I think that's the power of the Ford versus the Porsche currently with the way the BOP works out. Yes, Alan taking almost what I would call the esports line. Not quite. He's not too far out there. They did try to eliminate that with that off track here last year. Checking in here with Eric Langkamp, trying to make a move here on Zane, maybe. Running the Porsche a little wide there. Every time I see that paint job, I'm reminded we had one guy, I think 2 seasons ago, running a Bucky's Porsche. I keep thinking it's the same car, but it is not. Just very similar scheme. Minus the cartoon beaver, that is. You can see back there that was Warren Sanger getting a little wide. And you got these two, Dan and Nicholas, working together as teammates. I'm actually pretty sure, let's see, if we are on Dan and go to his gearbox, might be Nicholas. I think that's a bump draft. Not something you see a ton of in GT2. You can see him back off there at the last second. And that's one of those things that is so hard to get right. You start giving guys little bumps, and you pretty much have to back off a little bit there to make sure you don't rear end them. But that's your gap between first to fifth. You can see Ricky out front. So this pack has opened up 3.6 seconds over Jake there. Looks like that is Alan Gullison. Going to try to make a position on Kevin Hayes here. That's a little weird. My preview window was about 10 minutes behind. We are 20 minutes in with 40 minutes left to go here in the race tonight. Tyler Reed not really letting Jack Peterson run away from him there. Tyler Reed leading your silver division. So lands in silver and does a very nice job. As Alan here coming to the bus stop, you can just see how much bigger that Mustang is. Mustang able to take a little more curb. It doesn't seem to get nearly as upset as the McLaren does. As it is Jake Browning, Jack Peterson, Tyler Reed, Schwartz, Serge. So your top 5 not pitting this lap, but everyone else coming in at the 21-minute mark. That's going to definitely be 2 pit stops here tonight. Unless we see somebody stretch it out another about 4 more laps, and I don't think that one's going to be very possible. All right. Checking back in with your leader, Ricky Renner, and you see this top 5. It is just nose to tail. This is, it's one of those races. It's kind of like a mini Daytona 24. You find someone you can run with that's not going to wreck you. You sit in a pack and sit somewhere within a little bit of the leader. You just sit there, run there, save your fuel, do what you can, and you get ready. So you can see the lead pack coming through here into the bus stop. That's where it gets sketchy. That's going to cause a little bit of drama there. I believe that was Alex Jaspers having an accident in the process. Let's go back and watch what happened to Alex here as they're coming in. Alex got to say, I want no part of this. I'll wait for y'all to go, and I'm going to get out of the way and not be involved. And hey, sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. These guys coming into the pits, keep an eye on them. Let's see who makes it out of pit lane first. But with these guys pitting, everyone has now pitted. And if memory serves, I believe there was about a... I'll have to see if Jake pitting a lap earlier, if he is able to gain or at least hopefully close down that gap there, maybe catch back up with that lead pack a little. Because that will make his life a lot easier the rest of the race. And that is Connor Wagner. Difference in the pit stop time, 18.18 versus an 18.57. So we can pull this up here. If I can find the pit stop strategy, we'll show you the pit stop time for these guys here. That pit stop time. I'm guessing they're going to have to finish their lap there to be included on that. We'll hide that away for a minute. But that is just over a second gap for Ricky to close back. But I can pretty much tell you, if you're within a second when you launch out onto here, if you get a good run off onto the oval, you're not running away. Wind, physics, it says you will be back there. You may only get 4/10 out of it this time, but you'll be closer coming out of the bus stop, and then by start finish, it'll put you right back playing with them. It's not as bad as the Miatas. Yeah. This isn't the bumping freight train of Miata Daytona racing. But now, after that pit stop here, it is Nicholas Menard getting out ahead of Dan Griffith, 3.5 seconds. The gap between their teammates there after the pit phase. Yeah, it looks like Dan in his pit box a half a second longer. My guess says he had to take a little extra fuel because I believe Dan was running up front. And that is Nicholas all over the back of Jake Browning there. So that's something that Jake would have wanted to see. You know, that's put him up into... Oh, wait, no, sorry. That is Dan on the back of Jake, yeah. So Jake making up a position, and now he's got a draft partner to try to see if maybe he can't close the gap to Ryan there. That being a 2-second gap, if they can make up a second by pushing together. Ryan is right at 1 second, almost. He's close to dropping out of the draft of Nicholas here. So Ryan's going to have to get a very good run out onto the oval section here. Looking at that gap, it's right there, 1.16. About 1.2 is when you start getting the sniff of a draft, so he is right on that. Nicholas is going to want to hit his marks dead on, not only to close up onto the back of Ricky Renner and see if he can get sucked back in, but also to see if it's a 3-car breakaway and not a 4. Because if he can break the draft to Ryan, that will help his teammate out, Dan, if Dan works with Jake. As their lap times, it's one of those things, running together, there's 4 to 5/10 of a second in your lap times pretty easily. Back through the field here, looks like we've got Sergey and Michael and Randy all kind of running here together. And what do you know? Nick Terrell up 12 spots, trying to catch up. And there is the draft as Sergey goes straight past Michael. Check back in here at Forrest Minter. Still right around Eric and Josh. Here now, that is Drake Leach now into the lead of bronze. Looking like showing a crash for Alan Gillison. What happened with Alan here? Did somebody catch too much curb and iRacing recorded it as a crash? No, yes, he got too much curb, but iRacing correctly recorded that as a crash. See the front end of that Mustang pushed in a little. Hope you got your fast repair. That will be costing him some time in the straightaway. And where is... I'm looking for him. We saw he was doing so good earlier. Jack Peterson leading our gold division here. He is in that no man's land. 15 seconds off the back of Dan Griffin now. Tyler, he looks like he's got a 4-second lead over him and Schwartz. So Jack's last lap 145.8. Dan up ahead 145.7. So not the way you necessarily want to be seeing that gap go if you're Jack, I know. But Ricky looking like he's managed to break the gap to Nicholas to just over 1.4 seconds. So flirting with that draft area, but just not quite in there. And that has allowed Ryan to get within the second gap there. So we should see Ryan start closing back up. And Jake and Dan now have that gap down to 2.3 right back there. So great racing all the way up front here. You know, and even if Jake isn't Dan's teammate, they're probably going to work together because it will benefit the both of them if they can catch up to Ryan. That gets them back into the front of the pack. And unfortunately, Daytona, if you're not within the draft window and someone else has a drafting buddy, it is extremely hard to make that difference. Looking like Tyler Reed catching back up to Schwartz here. Pull this back up. Yep, you can kind of see up at the front. So Jake, 17.8 second in the pit. So even faster than everyone else. You can see there is a 0.4 of a second difference between Connor and Ricky there. With Menard and Miriam 18 dead. So just proof that, you know, how quickly you can get in and out of your pit box, stop dead on, turn off the wind wiper, the windshield wrap. There's a second right there. And whether or not these guys took any tires. We will put this away here. And iRacing, Daytona being one of the hardest tracks on a computer here. Seeing a few little frame drops here and there. Let's look through here. Check in on Tyler Roberts coming into the pits now, along with Chris Hayes behind him. As we are 31 minutes in, it's kind of an oddball. I'm guessing these two must have needed to pit a little earlier, maybe for some damage, and now it's their time for fuel. Not making it in far enough for this to be their last stop, judging by how we have seen everything going so far. But looking up front here, Connor has a 0.4 of a second lead there over Ricky. And if I'm these two, I'm going to play nice. I'm going to play together. I'm going to want to shove myself out as far ahead of the other guys as we can. Because it's one thing having to work with one guy and worry about who, you know, when are you going to pass them? When's the right spot? When can you make up enough distance that they don't have an answer for it? When it's a three-way battle, not only have to worry about the guy up front, you got to worry about the guy in the back. And even when you may say, hey, it's time to go, you may find a car from behind you on the line and in the space you needed. to try to make it work. Let's check in here, and that is Nick Terrell getting around Sergey there. And looking at this, 2.8. So Ryan has caught the back of Nick there. So these two should start working together and to see if they can possibly match pace with Connor and Ricky ahead. So I doubt we will see any position changes here in these top four unless somebody thinks that they can pull a little, sometimes you have some guys that, in NASCAR, it's definitely true. Some guys are better pushers and some guys are better at taking the push. So they may flip-flop, and sometimes it's as simple as, it might be in case of the Ferrari can kind of pull the McLaren a little harder, or maybe the Ferrari can push the McLaren a little harder. Up front between Connor and Ricky, both in the McLaren, that should not make a difference between those two. And then back here, so they kind of have the same thing going on. You have the Ferrari in the front and the McLaren on the rear for third and fourth, and fifth and sixth. But your top six have just been opening this gap to Jack Peterson here. So we have a little under 25 minutes left of this race. Try to see what I can remember from one of our sponsor reads here. We do appreciate Kim's Cups and More sponsoring this series, helping pay for the broadcast and give a little prize money for the guys at the end of the season. So they do a bunch of the cups, logos on just about everything. So if that's something you're in the need of, please check them out. I know they have, I believe it's Instagram, whatnot, Etsy, Facebook. It's based out of Freeport, Florida. So we do appreciate their sponsoring this series. As we go through here, looking for some good battles. Looks like we got one developing between Zane Bierman and Avi Vishwasam. So Avi in that Porsche going to want to get as close to the back of that Corvette as possible, as they have caught the back of Forrest Minter and Warren Sanger. Sanger going around Minter right now on the outside. Yeah, it's one of those, you kind of want to let the guy by. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Sometimes it's better to lift a little earlier, and that way you can be fully back on the normal line, because if you compromise your entry and you have someone close behind you, that means you've compromised your exit. And what was going to be a one position loss is now going to be kind of an easy pass for Zane here around the outside. You see Avi going to follow along as well, as they're going to hit the brakes down into turn one. Forrest says, I don't feel like playing that game. You'll go right ahead. Avi looking to maybe make something work along the outside there. Nope. Gonna hold it off. Is Forrest gonna look to the inside? Decides not to. He's gonna just join the draft train and see where the race takes it. We have about 23 minutes left. Probably start seeing the second round of pit stops any minute now. But there's your gap for your leaders. It's, I think it's measured in feet. Yep. You can kind of ride along with Ricky here for a minute. Oh, wait, that's right. Gonna do a quick love to hear it segment, and we'll be right back. And that was a little love to hear it section as we see Zane Bierman diving into the pits now, as that had Abi Vizuvasam up to, I believe that was 19th there for a minute. Forrest Minter going out a little bit longer. There is Abi having a black flag. I'm guessing somebody must have been crossing the pit line a little too quickly. Looks like that is going to be a 40-second hold. I am sorry, Abi. You were doing quite well before that. Check in another one of our Porsches here. That is Kerry, looking like a top 10 tonight. I know that's one of the things he was hoping to pull off here at some point in core. So we will have to keep an eye on where Kerry finishes here tonight. But he has Schwartz all over the back of it. You know, and I know this isn't in the simraces.com thing there because they run their own livery, but I feel like at some point we need to see Schwartz and Spaceballs of the BMW livery at some point. May the Schwartz be with you. I'm sure he has to be tired of hearing that his entire life. Checking back up here with the guys up front. Is, yep, you have Connor and Ricky here, nose to tail. Nicholas and Ryan, not quite nose to tail, but they're still nice and close there. And Dan about 2 seconds back, looking like he has dropped Jake behind him a little bit. I'm guessing going through traffic, they may have gotten separated a little bit. And looking down through here. Yeah. Still kind of a real battle on track between Kerry and Schwartz. It'll be interesting to see where. So Alan Gullison. What happened to Alan there? Okay. I am guessing somebody had a connection issue or maybe a PC hiccup, because you see him there, everything looks fine, and disappears. Probably hits the wall about now, and then pops back up with some damage right there. Not how you want to have your race go, Alan. I'm sorry. We're starting to get the takers. That is Tyler Reed coming down pit lane. And Jack Peterson in his pit box, gonna come out. Let's see, Peterson, 16.27. So that's the kind of fuel required when you're running kind of by your lonesome. Gonna be interesting to see how the gaps then and the pit times come out for these guys here. As we know, I know Ricky's been saving some fuel. Yeah, and if you save enough, if you can take 2 gallons less and put you out over that 2 seconds, you can lay the hammer down and try to keep them 2 seconds back and hold that off to the very end if you're lucky. We have about 15 minutes left in this 1-hour race here tonight. So, get the last of our sponsor reads done here. Backbone Candle Company, a small candle company started by a strong mom with a dream. I believe they're also on Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot. We do appreciate that, and I am sorry for not having the sponsor reads here tonight for y'all. But I know they do a lot of scented candles, so if you need something for the girlfriend, wife, or something to make your man cave smell better, a lot of guys could use that. Oh, and that is a B, and I could not see who that other person was there. I believe that was Warren Sanger. Yep, according to SDK, having a little tiff in the International Horseshoe. All right, so that is Dan Griffith coming in. Is he going to have a dancing partner as he leaves? Looks like Jake's about 2 seconds behind him, so not going to be quite close enough to get the draft there. Jake and Dan taking about the same amount of fuel. And you have Ryan now getting a little bit of draft help from the number 11 of Warren Sanger there. That's going to help get him a little closer to the back of Nicholas Menard. It's going to put him inside that draft window too. As that gap now is down to half a second, they will allow him to get right back up. See our leaders up here going for yet one more lap. Nope, they are into the pit lane. Hard on the brakes, hard on the brakes. Let's see, does anyone get a black in the lead pack here as they came in? Saw it happen to Viva Shubhasam earlier. And looks like everybody's gonna be clear. No speeding penalties on the way in. Let's check some pit stop times and see who comes out of their box the quickest. Guessing it's going to be about 12 seconds of fuel. 12.4 for Connor, 12.7 for Ricky. That's going to open that gap up a little bit, but probably not enough to break the draft. Nicholas 11.88, Ryan 11.85. That's going to put Nicholas closer to the back of Renner. I'll have to see exactly how it slots out once they get all the way on the track, as you can see a little bit of traffic for them to deal with here. And Connor definitely was probably hoping he could get a little more than a 9/10 of a second gap on Ricky after that pit phase. Like I said, if you break it out to 2 seconds, that's real hard. It's going to take a mistake on his part or your part to break that draft gap. But as they're getting on, looking like Ricky's got a very good exit here. So we should see that start coming down here a little bit. And there it is. Well, that's right. Well, flip this back to overall here for the end of this. There we go. That's going to start reporting correctly. Let's see these guys headed to the checker. All right. Looking like we got a little bit of a battle here between Michael and Eric. Little McLaren on Porsche. It looks like Michael able to keep a little bit of a tighter line through the Western Horseshoe. As we have about 11 minutes left in this race. Looking like there are 23 cars still in the lead lap. It is James Molyneux, the last one on the lead lap. Looking back, not seeing. Minute 35 we go. It's about a 10-second gap before Connor gets to him. So James, if you keep the lap times up, you may survive to the end. Looking here, looks like Kevin Hayes catching the back of Tyler Reed there. So you can see that McLaren kind of doing a little bit of a four-wheel drift on corner exit when he gets on the power. We had one Lamborghini here tonight of Aaron Reed, and I tried doing an official earlier this week, and I can tell you it was sketchy. So, showing he did just under 2 laps, guessing he had a little incident and stuffed it. Showing a crash here for Stephen Wilcox in that Golf McLaren. What happened? Is it a curb? Yep, it's a curb. Oh, that's always a tough one. Right into the wall. Yeah. He tried to move, decided that it was not going to be straight, and towed to the pits. After looking at that damage, I believe that was a good call there. Yep. Currently, your closest battle on track is between Tyler and Kevin here. Connor able to keep that gap up here up front to Ricky at about 9/10 of a second. You can see a B getting out of the way of the leaders, not wanting to be involved in their battle. Yeah, so you don't have to just jump out of the way like that, but you know, sometimes you got two guys that are focused on a race win here tonight. You don't want to be caught up in any of their drama. Looking here, and that is the closest we have seen Kevin now onto the back of Tyler. Gonna look to the inside. It's a drag race down to the horseshoe. Who's got more motor, the Corvette or the McLaren? Looking like the McLaren's gonna take it. So another position for Kevin Hayes here tonight. But your biggest gain of the night is Jack Peterson up 21 positions from his start. So nice job for all the passing, Jack. Now the gap between Connor and Ricky down to 6/10 of a second as we are drawing in the last 8 minutes or so here. Now is the time, if you've got the fuel, to start trying to catch up there and see where you can get it. Ooh, it's going to be a little tight here. Mustang gonna, ooh, not what you want to see in second place. Trying to make it through, but looking like Ricky able to take another couple tenths out of Connor there. Maybe that was the helping hand he needed to put him close enough to really get back in that draft. You can see, yeah, it's a permanent race course, obviously, but some of the bumps in the infield section there almost kind of remind you of some street tracks like Long Beach. They're not quite that bad, but there is definitely a few seams in the pavement and whatnot that you do have to be aware of. You can't exactly run too wide, places that, you know, while it might be flat when you take your preferred line, it is not flat when you venture off of it. Pull our class sets back up so you can kind of see where everybody's at. Tyler Reed leading the silver division there. Yeah, show these guys how they're sitting in their classes right now, not just their overall positioning. Ricky going to the outside here. Trying to figure out where he's going to have enough of a run to take it through. Or around the outside of turn one. Not exactly a common popular passing spot. You can see he got a little slot in there, but lap 31. A little over 5 minutes to go. Ricky is getting the elbows out, trying to figure out where he can possibly get the move done. And that's one of those things that, you know, you're welcome to try all the moves you want, but if you go for one that costs you over a second of lap time, it's going to take a minute to get back into the draft, as Ricky's currently sitting at 0.6 of a second. So we'll have to find another avenue in. I think around the outside of one's a brave move, Ricky. You know, we don't want to discourage hard racing. Yeah, that may be how it's has to be done. Let's check in over here. Got a few guys running next to each other. That is Sergey, Eric, Josh, and Michael, all within a second here of each other. So you go down into one, and you see the accordion effect, them getting closer and closer. Michael all over the back bumper of Josh ahead. And Kevin Hayes catching up to the back of Jack Peterson here. 4/10 off. Jack running 7th overall. Looking like we got a little bit of a, not sure I want to call it a battle, but a lot of sparks coming from Josh Anderson's Corvette there. Looking like Alex giving him a little push. Pull up the dashboard on the right there. I'm going to try to catch somebody who's coming through here. Yeah. With about 4 minutes to go, there Ricky is within half a second of Connor. If we get to the end of the race, normally there's only 1 or 2 people going for positions at the end. See, this one's a tight battle too here between Jack and Kevin. There's going to be another drag race. We've seen Hayes get a good run out of the horseshoe before. Is he going to try something into the braking of the Western horseshoe? No, looks like Kevin's plan is to get as close to the Mustang as possible and use the draft to do something there. As here we are. There's 0.2 of a second. Gonna cut over and see. I still see the green flag in Barney's hand, so not green this time by. Down into one. Ricky getting a little closer there. As you see, you know, you're having to play with those curbs so tight there. Looking like Connor just getting a little bit of a better line coming out of the horseshoe there. A little tighter on the inside. Yeah, but these guys are still running fast enough. going through the kink, you know, there's a little bit of a draft. You can get a little aero push even through there. Checking in here, Kevin Hayes is going to try to make a move down into turn 1 on Peterson. To the outside. Is he going for a cutback move? Here we go. Is he going to have enough to get alongside? Not quite. But it's going to be into the braking zone of the horseshoe here. Jack covering off the inside. Kind of parking the car there. Nowhere for Hayes to get around. Some really good battling right there. So we're going to watch these two here up front. Ricky 4/10 back. He's going to want to be a little closer than that to make the pass by the start-finish line. We will go to the starter cam again and see if Barney is going to start waving the white flag for them this time by. We're within a minute. It is the white flag, so this will be the last lap here. And go back into TV1. Ricky's going to want to get as close as possible. Oh, little slide from Connor there. Closest he's been into the horseshoes. He's going to stick a nose in. Decides not to. Going to try to focus on the exit maybe. These two are nose to tail. Down into the western horseshoe. Ricky gonna have anything? A little bit of a better exit. This will be the closest we've seen Ricky getting onto the NASCAR oval. Right there, 2/10. Definitely in range to throw a lunge into the bus stop for sure. Just over 1/10 of a second now. Gonna go to the outside. Gonna try to keep him from getting a little side draft. They're gonna go down in. Who's gonna get the better exit? That's where it's gonna come out here. 3/10 of a second. Connor coming out a little bit ahead on that one. 3/10. Ricky not having a better run. It's taking a second for the draft to take hold. Looking like it might just be Connor. You see Ricky. Connor going to go for the short line on the inside. And Connor Wagner going to take home the win here tonight at Daytona. Nicholas Menard will come in third. Ryan in fourth. Dan in fifth. Jake looking like he is going to come in. That is sixth there as he will come across the line. Peterson. Got Hayes behind him. Peterson getting a little bit better of an exit. That Mustang power, but it also punches a rather large hole. 4/10 of a second. Gonna be tight for Kevin to try to come back from that. 3/10. Almost done into 2/10, but the line is coming up soon. And that is going to be Jack Peterson taking home 7th position over Kevin Hayes. A great battle there between these two. Your next closest battle here on track is going to be between Sergey and Eric. As they come around, looking like Sergey's, well, Eric going to the outside. It's a drag race. Who's going to get this one? Sergey, 0.020 of a second. Great battle there at the end, guys. Some great racing here tonight. Yeah, Barry, you could tell Ricky was trying. So, waiting for iRacing to call this one official here. I believe Zane Bierman is going to be the last one to pass the start-finish line, and that will give us our results here. Not the qualifying results, the race results. Connor Wagner taking home your win here tonight in first. Ricky Renner in second. Nicholas Menard coming in third, rounding out your podium. Ryan Merriam in fourth. Dan Griffith in fifth. Jake Browning in sixth. Jack Peterson coming in seventh. Eighth will be Kevin Hayes. Ninth, Tyler Reed. Michael Schwartz in 10th. Kerry Corcoran in 11th. Nick Terrell making his way up to 12th there. Sergey in 13th. Eric Langkamp in 14th. Josh Betts in 15th. 16th is going to be Michael Picone. Drake Leach in 17th. Zane Bierman in 18th. Randy Gross in 19th. Forrest Minter coming in 20th. And there we go. Nick. Oh, wait. Where were we? 20th. Yep. 21st will be James Molyneux. Warren Sanger in 22nd. Josh Anderson in 23rd. 24th is going to be Tyler Roberts. 25th, Philip Adams. Chris Hayes in 26th. Alex Jaspers in 27th. Tim Thompson in 28th. Charles Adams in 29th. Aviv Vizuvasam in 30th. Stephen Wilcox in 31st. Alan Gullison in 32nd. Hayden Desert in 33rd. And Aaron Reed in 34th. And like I said earlier in the broadcast, guys, I am sorry I been locked out of my Discord account, so I cannot do interviews here tonight. But from everyone here at Core, we appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow us. And until next week, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down.
Engines roar, the lights go green. Metal beasts on gasoline. Pedal down, no turning back. Feel the thunder on the track. Chrome and steel, the battle calls. Through the smoke, we stand tall. Rivals crushed, we leave in dust. Speed is our only trust. You think you're fast, you think you're tough, but on this track it sucks to suck. Born to race, born to fight. Push the limit, own the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound. Burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. Feel the rush, adrenaline. Victory in our skin. Tighten the grip. Hold the line, defeats the word we leave behind. Danger right with every turn, in every crash, a lesson learned. The roar of engines, scream of tires, feeds the need, ignites the fire. You thought you had the skills to win, but the checkered flag is where it begins. Born to race, born to fight, push the limit, own the night. Feel the fire, hear the sound, burning rubber on the ground. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. On the edge of speed, we drive the line. Leave them broken at the finish sign. Glory waits for those who dare. In the heat of battle, we're prepared. No mercy shown, no second place. In this league, there's no disgrace. If you're not first, you know the luck. But in the end, it sucks to suck. On the end, it sucks. Clears and engines die. The victors stand, the rest just cry. The truth is hard, the road is rough. If you can't keep up, well, it sucks to suck.